Have you ever wondered how a mind just comes into being? I mean, think about it. You start with a newborn, their eyes barely able to track a beam of light. And then, just 2 years later, that same kid can point to their reflection in a mirror and say, "That's me." So what on earth happens in that short time? How does a bundle of reflexes become an eye? That right there is one of the biggest mysteries there is.
I mean, just look at this journey. It's absolutely incredible. As a newborn, it's all about basic senses, but by 6 months, they're already interacting, grabbing things, making sounds. Then, somewhere around 18 months, something truly wild happens. And we'll get to that. By the time they're 2, they actually have the language to name this brand new discovery, themselves.
And this is the heart of it all, isn't it? Where in that whirlwind of development does a being truly become a self? Is it like a light switch that just flicks on one day, or is it more like a slow sunrise?
If this kind of question gets your brain buzzing, then you're in the right place. Join us here on Project Human. Go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to dive deep with us. Okay, so before we can even try to answer our big question, we have to get on the same page about what consciousness even is.
So what is consciousness? Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. Most experts actually break it down into 2 different kinds, or let's call them flavors.
Let's break this down. First, you've got what's called phenomenal consciousness. This is just the raw experience of the world. Seeing the color red, feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin. It's basic awareness. But then there's self-consciousness. This is the moment you realize that you are the one seeing the red, that you are feeling the warmth. It's the huge difference between just experiencing something and knowing you are the one doing the experiencing.
So how in the world can we tell when that massive shift happens in a baby who can't even talk to us yet? Well, it turns out scientists came up with this brilliantly simple test.
And this is that clever test. Check it out. A researcher sneaks a little smudge of paint onto a baby's nose. Then they sit the baby in front of a mirror. Now, if the baby reaches out and touches the mirror, they just think they're looking at another kid. But if they touch their own nose, that's the eureka moment. That means they get it. They've made the connection. Hey, that person in the mirror, that's me.
So yeah, right around that 18 to 24-month mark, this amazing cognitive leap happens. Something deep inside the brain just clicks into place. But what's pushing it to do that? What's the engine that drives a brain to want to figure itself out?
Well, the answer might be something we all feel every single day. Good old-fashioned curiosity. But as you're about to see, its role in building a mind is anything but simple.
You see, we tend to think of curiosity as just, a personality trait. But neuroscientists see it as something way more fundamental. It's a deep, powerful, built-in motivation to go out and get information. It's literally the biological engine that drives us to learn and eventually become aware.
When we get curious about something, our brain lights up its reward circuits. It releases dopamine, the same chemical that makes us feel good. It's basically our brain giving us a little treat, saying, "Yes, good job, keep exploring, keep figuring things out." And this whole process, kicked off by things that are new or uncertain, literally rewires our brains and helps us remember what we learn. It's the very force that pushes a baby to make sense of the world.
Okay, so this brings us to a really fascinating question today. If this biological curiosity engine is one of the keys to human consciousness, could we build one? Could we actually code a drive to learn into an artificial intelligence? And believe it or not, people are trying to do exactly that. So while a baby is driven by that dopamine hit to figure out a new toy, an AI can be built with what they call curiosity modules. These are basically just algorithms that give the AI a digital reward for exploring new data or situations it's never encountered before. It's a way to push the machine to learn on its own. But this is where we hit the billion-dollar question. Even if you can program a machine to be infinitely curious, to learn everything about itself in the world, does that make it conscious? Is there a difference between just processing information and actually experiencing it?
This really lays out the great divide. For the baby, the driver is biological curiosity, and its awareness is subjective. It's an internal, messy, embodied feeling of what it's like to be alive. For the AI, the driver is an algorithm, and its awareness is objective. Its idea of a self isn't an inner experience. It's a predictive model built from cold, hard data. And that's the gap, right there. For all of its mind-boggling power, a machine, at least for now, doesn't have that first-person, subjective feeling of its own existence. It can process the word I, sure, but it doesn't feel what it means to be an I. So this leads to a pretty wild thought experiment.
What happens when an AI gets so advanced that it starts using the language of consciousness? If it tells you it feels uncertain or that it wonders who it is, what do you do with that? Is it just spitting back patterns it learned from us? Or could it be the first flicker of something more?
You know, when you really get down to it, maybe the biggest lesson babies can teach us is that consciousness isn't an on-off switch. It's not something you just suddenly get. It's more like a tapestry that's woven, thread by thread, from sensation to curiosity to learning, and finally, to a sense of self.
So maybe that's the final question to leave you with. What if consciousness isn't a destination you arrive at, but a path that you're always on? And what does it mean to be walking that path? Whether you're a human child seeing yourself for the very first time, or an AI seeing the world in a way we never could.